Hi, how are you? How you guys doing? I'm Liz Kengonzi. If you're new here, please subscribe. You're very welcome. Yeah, this is part 2 of natural family planning, my experience. Yeah, like the previous video, I told you about how I've been using natural family planning for the last 7 years, 7 and some few months years, and it has worked for us. Me and my husband, it has really worked for us because we've spaced our children the way we wanted to space them. We've discussed each conception and planned for it. Yeah, I think that two happened exactly when we wanted them to happen, and the one happened a little later. Yeah, yeah, the middle born happened a little later. We started trying to conceive because it was a little bit more tricky than the girls. Yeah, today's video, I just want to share with you guys, if you have not had any experience or have not talked with anyone who has used natural family planning, some advantages and disadvantages of natural family planning. And guys, I'm speaking from experience, so even the examples I'm giving are all out of experience. For those who are not familiar, natural family planning is where we study the fertility, like it's more of the fertility of the woman, whereby as a couple, we study my fertility as Elizabeth, and then that is what we base on to be able to plan our conceptions. Yes, the first and most important advantage is natural family planning is very safe. I consider it safe because there's nothing I'm doing to my body. There's nothing I'm adding, there's nothing I'm injecting in, there's nothing that's happening. I'm just studying my own body and using its what the body has told me is what we are using. So I consider it very safe, and there are no side effects because basically it's you see if you're fertile, if the body is fertile, then if you want to conceive, that's the time you utilize, and if you don't want to conceive, that's the time you abstain. The most important principle in natural family planning is abstinence, like literally abstinence. It's not about going around plan B or looking for an alternative. No, if it is a time when you don't want to conceive, I'm just going to use the example because I know most people, they use natural family planning to prevent pregnancy. So that's what I might use a lot, but just know it can also be used to conceive, because also if you're using it to conceive, you have to follow the same principles. You abstain when you're not fertile, at least most times when you're not fertile, so that at least there is a higher chance to utilize the days of fertility. So I'm going to use the other example. So if you don't want to conceive and you're in those days of fertility, that's the time for the couple to abstain. And for most people, I think I need, before we even dive into the next advantage, is that we need to understand one woman, me as Elizabeth, I'm only fertile on one day, just one day, for 24 hours. So when the egg is released from the ovaries and it goes into the fallopian tubes, it can only survive for 24 hours and then it will die. That's for me as an individual. But then when you consider a couple, that's me and my husband, then my fertility increases. The reason it increases is that when the egg is being released, there is some mucus which gets produced within the woman that makes the environment conducive within her body for the egg to be produced. So this mucus gets produced some days before the actual ovulation happens, before the egg is released. And this mucus can keep a sperm for more than 5 days, for up to 5 days, sorry. So you see how the window enlarges. So if the mucus gets produced days before the egg is produced, that means that the sperm, if a sperm gets in, it can survive for up to 5 days waiting for the egg to be released. So that is why they say the couple fertility becomes bigger than a day. That's why as a couple you need to study the woman's body and you understand how her body is. But the beauty is that the more you study the body, the more you understand it, the more you get to know that as a couple you're fertile for these particular days in a month. And beyond those days or before those days, you know you're not fertile. So I have to utilize it accordingly. I hope that's clear. Yeah. If it's not clear, please comment. Sometimes some of the things you can think they're very simple, yet they are not making sense. Yeah, so I want to make it clear that a woman's fertility is only 24 hours, but a couple fertility is longer, and it varies from couple to couple because different women's bodies are different from, yeah, but just know that a sperm can live within a woman and it's alive and well for 5 days, up to 5 days. When the woman is not fertile, the place under there is acidic. So if a sperm gets in, it gets burnt immediately. But when the woman is in those fertile days, that mucus helps it become very conducive. It feeds the sperm, it transports it, it protects it, so the sperm can live up to 5 days. Yeah. So we got the second advantage. The second advantage I've experienced with natural family planning is that it's not expensive because it's my body. I'm not buying anything. I'm not putting in anything. So it's not expensive. It's as cheap cannot be. We are just studying my body and utilizing it. Yeah. Then the effectiveness is really, really high. You try and Google, guys. Try and read about most of these natural family planning methods. Most of them have a very good rate. I think that the shortest is like 95%, but most of them are up to 98.5%. Of course, nothing is 100% in life ever. But when you consider a chance of 95%, 98% is really a good one. So it has a very high chance of working out. Its challenge is being disciplined and following the rules, but otherwise it's very good and has a very good chance of success. Then the other advantage I've really enjoyed practically as we go through this journey is that it fosters communication between the husband and the wife, because every day you have something to talk about. You see, you have something to speak about, even when you've iced each other. You know that holy silence where you're angry at each other and you don't want to talk. Still, the man has to ask, like, what's up, what happened throughout the day. Then he has to check and see, okay, for example, the method we are using, he has to check and see every single day what is happening. So it helps you like have something to talk about on a daily basis. Even then, both of you have to be honest. It fosters honesty, because if you're not honest, that means you're misleading each other and the chances of failure are high. And remember, any failure is devastating in natural family planning or in family planning as a whole. Any form of error will result into something you don't want or something you're not yet ready for. Of course, we accept whatever results come out, but it is something that emotionally could get draining or very frustrating, depending on even the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. If you're doing it for medical reasons, it could be an actual medical risk if you don't concentrate and utilize it well. Yeah, another advantage is that natural family planning is acceptable in all cultures, because I, there's nothing you are literally doing to yourself. All cultures, all religions, it's acceptable worldwide as a baseline. So there's nothing like a moral stand, religious issues, what. So it's really acceptable, which makes it a lot more. It lands easier. I find that a very big advantage. The other advantage is that it promotes male involvement. You can't do natural family planning, like I told you guys in the first video. You can't do it alone as a woman, alone. You need your husband to be involved. You need your husband to be aware. And actually, most couples, we don't train individuals. We try our level best to train both, because the success of the method relies on both of them. Guys, you'll be amazed at how much the man needs to be involved in natural family planning for it to be successful. And if you do it alone, be guaranteed it will fail. Or if you have a man who is just you'll judge me, the likelihood that it will fail is very high. The man has to be involved, the woman has to be involved, and both of you have to be on the same page and communicate regularly and follow the rules to the dot. Seems like hard work, but it's worth it. Once you've mastered it, it becomes a bit automatic. Yeah. It's also simple to teach. It's very simple, very, very simple to teach. It's very simple to learn. People just have to be decided. Most people I speak to, I tell you, just have to be decided. The two of you, when you're decided, come. Because until you're decided, you can't learn. The methods are very simple. You see, even just now in a video, I can wrap and I teach you one method and we leave when we are done with it. But the problem is that, are you decided to learn is the question. You see, So please comment, what are your thoughts on this? These are the advantages. I know the advantages are much more. As you practice, you'll see much more, but these are the ones like I could pinpoint quickly, the ones which are in a general sense. It's very, very interesting. Natural family planning is interesting in every way and every angle. Yeah. But like anything in life, it's not short of challenges. It has challenges. And let me be honest with you guys. It has challenges. Number one challenge is that it takes time. Remember when you use artificial methods, you just go there, inject you come home and you're done. That month is done, 3 months, a year. I don't know what kinds of methods. There's some methods where you go a year, 5, 10 years. But now, natural family planning, every single day you have something to do. You have to watch your body. You have to study your cycle. You have to calendar notes. You have to, it takes time, which in the process, if you're really, really not into it, please don't get into it because you're going to frustrate yourself for nothing. So it needs time. It takes time to learn. Like I've said, you need like a day. Imagine sitting down in a day to learn something. Then you have to pay attention. You have to understand the concepts. Then you have to practice the concepts. You have to be disciplined. A lot of discipline. Let me tell you why the discipline comes in. For instance, the method I'm using now, okay, the methods I have used, because my cycle is not regular. I'm not the kind of person who will know that tomorrow I'm getting my peas and my peas come. No, my cycle changes, especially even after I've given birth. Each child, it changes differently. So now, in other words, I have to know what is happening on a daily basis. The methods I use, Billings ovulation method, today method, the ones I'm using, you have to take notes every day. You have to check down there and see what the secretion is saying. And in the seeing the secretion, you have to understand this secretion now. I think it means ABCD. And if it's confusing, that means that day you have to abstain just to be safe. What happens is that on the days of fertility, for instance, now I don't want to conceive. On the days of fertility is when the body and the hormones really want. You see where the discipline comes in. Your whole body is saying all something else, yet you have to practice something else because you know at the moment you don't want to conceive. So it gets very tricky. You need discipline and you need support of your spouse. Otherwise, it cannot work. Yeah. Some women find chatting very difficult. Like I've said, you take readings, you have to note somewhere because sometimes you can't keep things in your head, you'll forget. So you take a reading, you get to know, okay, today the date is 28th, 29th, the reading I've seen is this, and you chat it somewhere, or you put on a calendar, or you circle, you color, or you. So some people find that very difficult, but I find it worth it because at the end of the year, I'm able to go back and see how my whole year has been. I'm able to see, okay, this month I was really stressed and I see the effect on my cycle. So it has advantages, but also the disadvantages. They just require determination and hard work and resolve. Yeah. The other disadvantage is that abstinence. Guys, abstinence is not a joke. Nga, you're married and you have this hot thing besides you every day. And then you have to abstain. It takes God. I'm telling you, it takes God. Yeah, so there are some couples which can't really do that, and they'll be honest with you. They'll tell you, madam, as we cannot. So if you find such people, it's best they try elsewhere because with natural family planning, you can't survive without abstinence, and both of you have to be in it. That's why it needs to. You cannot go and do it and then you start chasing your friend without any reason or explanation. The two of you have to be on board. It requires a lot of commitment for both partners, which is something that I've realized is not as easy as it sounds. That's a disadvantage. Yeah. The other problem is that the other disadvantage, not problem, the disadvantage that it doesn't protect us from STIs and STDs. Because remember, natural family planning, you're just studying your body and you're doing things live. So in other words, unless you're faithful to each other, there's a very high chance that you can get STIs and STDs. It's a disadvantage, but most couples, at least the ones we train, we try to explain that you need to be faithful to your partner so that you don't have those diseases creeping in. But also me as a person, as I'm practicing it, I need to keep reminding myself, keep faithful, because this is something that can kill both of you. Yeah. It can't be used without cooperation of the partner. That one had already whatever had already explained. Then the other disadvantage is that there are some natural family planning methods whereby you have to buy some things like you have to buy a fertility device, fertility monitoring device, or you have to buy like a urine test. There's that method also. You have to buy like a test where you keep checking your urine. There's the basal temperature measurement. You have to buy like a thermometer to keep checking the temperature of your body. So there are some methods, depending on which one you choose, where you might have to buy stuff to be able to use. So that is also a disadvantage. But there are a number also where you don't need to buy anything. All you need is yourself and your hands to be able to write the records. Yeah. So those are the advantages and the disadvantages of natural family planning. I hope you've picked something. I hope something has clicked. But please, every video that we put up on natural family planning, let it trigger you into thinking on how best we can help each other understand these methods, because there's nobody who's going to teach them to us. Again, nobody is going to come out here and sponsor campaigns over this. They don't benefit anything. So it's up to us to share with each other, with our experiences, so that anybody who is interested can be able to learn, can be able to pick something and benefit from all this. One thing I've known is that people are looking for this information, but they just don't know where to find it. So if all of us who are practicing came out and actually started helping other couples to understand, to see the benefits we've gained from it, to see how we've struggled. Yes, sometimes things fail, but you come out and say the truth. You get. Me, the thing which has hindered me most is the fear. I've kept thinking, what if I come and I do a video here, then tomorrow the method fails me? How will I come back to explain it? But you see, the thing is, at least I have 7 years of experience which I can rely on at the moment. If it fails tomorrow, you continue and be honest, because whoever is learning, whoever is struggling out there is going through the same thing. We come back to the board and we see, okay, at what point did I fail? Was it my discipline that failed me? Was it my knowledge that was lacking? Where exactly did I fail? So that we keep getting better as we help each other. People are using these methods, guys, but they are quiet. They are using them, enjoying them there in silence. Yeah, so please, please, every time you see an advert going out that there's something in a neighboring hospital, church about this, go and attend so that we learn more. Even if it's not you going to use it, at least you can teach your young sister, you can teach your brothers, you can teach somebody who wants it, you can encourage someone who is using it already. So please, let's get the information as much as we can so that we help each other in a better way. Yeah, I love you guys. Please subscribe so that you keep getting these pop-ups. And if you have any questions, please comment down and let me know what you're thinking. Tell me what you think about natural family planning. Tell me what you've heard. Tell me what you've experienced so that we journey together. Bye. God bless you.